A sixth-grade girls basketball team from northern Kentucky was banned from a boys basketball league after crushing their way through the regular season to reach the championship. So, wait, the girls team taking on boys teams and actually got to the championship. Wow. So the squad from Next Level Girls Basketball ended up with a 7-1 record in a citywide basketball league run by Southwestern Ohio Basketball. So they got all these wins and were preparing to compete in the championship game when they were removed by league president Tom Sunderman. According to WVXU-FM, Sunderman made the decision because he was afraid that the boys would get really, really mad if they lost. Doing this for 28 years, he said in a statement, "What we are worried about is a boys' team losing to a girls' team, especially in the year-end tourney. They may get frustrated and retaliate against a girl. Well, then we have liability issues." Oh, really now? Oh,
really?
Okay. Oh, you see, we're protecting the girls by not allowing them to play, even though they demonstrated exceptional skill and ability against the boys' teams. But we're just protecting them because, when they inevitably crush the boys, if that happens, and there's no guarantee, of course, but if that happens, we're just going to protect the girls from angry boys. What kind of BS reason is that? We're protecting the girls against the boys with very, very delicate feelings. That wasn't me saying that. That's them. That's what they were implying. Okay? That, these boys couldn't handle being beaten by a better team that just happens to be all female? Is that what's going on here? That tells me, by the way, that they're really worried about the girls' safety. They're worried about this being a skill issue. Okay? And do you guys remember, I don't know if you remember the study researchers did, I think it was 2015, on Halo 3 players. And I think this applies here. They would find that women on voice chat were more likely to elicit negative reactions, comments from unskilled male players. For example, the player who made 0 kills on average, it made an average of 5 negative comments to female players, while a player with 25 kills only averaged about 1 such comment. Okay? No similar correlation for male players existed. Instead, male voices received an average of 2 negative comments regardless of the other player's skill level. They also found that successful players with high skill rankings were more likely to respond positively to a female voice than the male voice. The reverse was true for low skill players who made more comments to male voices. The study's authors speculated that men who performed poorly while playing the game are low-status men. These men, they argue, were more likely to be hostile to female competitors, viewing them as a threat. And right there, I mean, that's how sexism works, okay? It's not that women are inherently inferior and not good at basketball and or anything like that. No. It's the fact that low-skilled men or boys could not handle a higher-skilled girl at this sport. And that's it. That is misogyny at a young age, which, by the way, underlines a lot of the trans bans that are going on as well, because the assumption is that, oh, see, trans women, boys will only transition to women to get an edge at sports because they're naturally better. But wait a minute, that's ridiculous. What advantage does a trans woman, for example, have at playing billiards? I mean, that's one of the most recent bans that had happened, okay? Wait, you don't want trans women to compete at pool? Not at swimming, but at pool. What advantage does a trans person have, or a man have in pool? I'm just saying. And that goes along with trans misogyny being just misogyny with extra steps, okay? But getting back to the girls' team, right? Now, apparently Sunderman, I mean, how did this happen in the first place? Sunderman said he coached against a team of boys from Next Level in the first game, and then he said the team's gender was listed as male in its registration, but he said the rest of the games were played by girls. We entered them into the league assuming that they were a boys' team, as conveniently no roster was ever provided. Subsequently, their first game was filled in by a boys' 6th grade Next Level team. It wasn't until late January/early February that several teams from the 6th grade division started traveling down to Kentucky to play their scheduled games that it became apparent that the Next Level team was, in fact, a girls' team, which went on to crush the boys' teams 7-1. 7 wins, 1 loss. Now, Next Level director Larry McGraw said, look, hey, I never felt the girls were, in any sort of danger. No, I mean, not from the boys. I mean, look, yes, he admits that they faced gender-based scorn during the season. Quote, they got giggles, they got laughs. People talked about them, the looks. There's a lot of that, and I think that this was a great opportunity for them to say, yeah, we're pretty darn good, and you should respect us. You see, none of the boys' teams that lost against these girls' teams ever did any retaliation. Yeah, sure, there were scoffs, laughed, and then, well, they got served during their games. And at the end of the day, hopefully they did learn to respect these other players. But apparently, that doesn't apply to the championship. That's a line too far, apparently, for Mr. Sunderman. And now, thanks to this, they don't get a chance to prove that they were good enough to take the championship. Now, in consolation, the league was had offered the team a chance to play in another year-end tournament, but for girls only. The club turned that down and removed all of its other teams from the league's tournaments in protest, and I think that's the right thing to do. They earned that spot. I don't care if they're the girls' team playing in the boys' championship. They earned that spot. They won all of those games. They deserve to be there to compete. They got there by winning. I thought we're supposed to celebrate people who work hard and win. But not if they're girls, apparently. And it's not just because they're girls. It's because of male fragility, which exists. And what this, unfortunately, what they've done here is send the completely wrong message. To these girls, they have just learned that no matter how good they are, they're going to have to take a back seat to men. Because, men's feelings, boys' feelings, they're just more important. They've also been taught that if men don't get their way, well, then they'll become violent. They'll retaliate. They'll attack them. So it's better just to let the men have their way instead of, teaching men and boys to be better and to take their frustration out in positive ways. Instead, they're being taught that it's okay to take their frustration out on women who may be higher skilled or play better just because they're girls. So you have the wrong messages that are being sent here. And I absolutely feel for the girls who, did everything right that they were supposed to. They competed well. They won. And ended up still getting screwed out of, being able to play in a championship game that they had earned thanks to how they were born.